Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another Ultimate Alliance 3 challenge. Now, last time you saw me in this general scenario, we were attempting to run through the entirety of the game without leveling the members of the cast. And I had an idea a while back that plays along the same general idea, but with a different twist. I want to see if you can play Ultimate Alliance 3 the way that it was intended. Now, there's a bunch of different videos from a lot of different games that kind of outline how the game is intended to be played, and that generally involves some sort of a guidebook and going through step by step. Ultimate Alliance 3, to my knowledge, does not have one of those official guidebooks. But you know what it does have? It has in-game guiding steps as to what one is supposed to do, and it has these wonderful cutscenes. So we are going to do any instruction that appears as a tutorial type aspect, and that's really just in the preliminary parts of the game. But we will be completing any of those that take place. We'll be following all of Nick Fury's instructions as he gives them to us. And finally, we will be picking our team based off of who is present in the cutscene immediately before. Now, in the event that a cutscene before a mandatory section does not have a full roster of 4 characters that we have access to, we will attempt to unlock that character if it is something that can be done, and if it's not something that we can do, then we will simply leave one of the characters from the previous cutscene in the rotation until we get to yet another cutscene. So, let's go ahead, skip through the remainder of this cutscene because it's not going to change the aspect of what characters that we can use, and let's get on with this challenge. So here we go, and this is where a lot of the preliminary stuff is going to be pretty tight-knit, because it's very linear in terms of what is requested or asked here. So make our way up to this terminal and interact with it so we can get up to the next little section here. And once we get up to the top here, we're going to be asked to complete a couple of objectives. So we're going to complete a couple of light attacks and 2 heavy attacks. That's an aerial. That's another aerial. There we go. Here comes a heavy attack. There comes a heavy attack. So that's 2 of the heavy attacks out of the way. That's not so bad. And there is jumping to get around obstacles. So let's now make our way into this next section here. And now we are being instructed to switch heroes. So we're going to switch over to Gamora and make our way into the next section of this little rambling run path here. So let's use Gamora to make our way across this section here. Now, Star-Lord would definitely be quicker at this, but that's not something that we have. So we're going to need to jump a 3rd time to make our way through there. And this gets us into the section where we will be sent down to the fight with Nebula. So now let's make our way through this cutscene, because again, this cutscene isn't going to dictate anything for us at this point. But let's go ahead and get into the combat here. And we'll make our way through these opponents pretty easily. So now we need to do R plus Y to use an ability. And do it again. There we go. Now we've got a guard sequence. And I'm guessing we actually have to take a hit here. There we are. Now we have guarded, so we need to deplete the opponent's stagger gauge, which is generally the approach for these boss fights anyway. There we go. Did she replenish some of her stamina gauge there? I feel like she probably did. Ooh. And we're just about there. There we are. Nice little depletion on Nebula's stagger gauge from the members of the team. We'll now back up, get away from her before this next section. And now we can use an extreme attack, but I want to make sure that we have Nebula's gauge depleted before we go about that. So let's go ahead and... Here comes the AX attack, which isn't really going to take her out completely, but it's going to get us pretty close. And there we go. Nice little progress through the end of that fight. And we even gained an extra level here, I think. I don't recall being at level 3 by the end of that fight. Again, this cutscene doesn't have any bearing over the adjustments that we can make to our team, so we'll go ahead and skip through that. And then we will make our way up to the next section of this
Then who was it for?
this little map here. And we don't have to fight these guys, I don't think, because it's not specifically outlined for us, but it doesn't harm us to do that either. Nice little disjointed range here from Gamora here in being able to attack into these Kree soldiers from a little bit of an increased distance. Because, I mean, Groot and Drax need to be very much on top of their opponents in order to get through there. So let's hit this switch, and I think we're going to get another one. Yep, we have to deplete another stagger gauge here. There we go. So there's that objective completed. And now let's make our way up to the next section here.
Whatever the heck that thing is.
That was a nice chunk of soldiers knocked off the edge there.
How amusing.
Your pain is hilarious, is that what Drax said? There's that guy taken care of. There's still a few more of them hanging out down here. I think that's all of them, and I don't have access to change the camera around here. So let's make our way up to this platform. And we'll make our way into the next section of this fight here, attacking into the main frame of the core computer. And we're still being told... No, I didn't know that the... because sometimes the environmental hazards will deal additional damage to the enemies that you're confronting here. But it doesn't appear that that was the case for this one in particular. There we go. That takes out the remainder of that. Oh, we need a synergy link here. There we go. I just about missed that. But it was enough to get us through the core objective for completing the next phase of the mission. So let's now go into the next section of the game. And into the fight with Ronan we go. And again, there's nothing that's going to be dictated by that cutscene that's going to have a great bearing on what we can do with our team. Alright. Oh dear, that's not particularly great. Let's get that stun there, that's quite nice. Then we will layer into Ronan and we'll hold on to our extreme attacks for the next section. And then if we dodge out of the way of some of his attacks here, we now have an objective to deplete the enemy's stagger gauge. But I don't know if that persists into the second half of this fight, off the top of my head. But we are now into that section, and I don't think that that objective is going to stick around. But that's fine. It's an objective we've seen before, so I'm not too hard-pressed for it. So let's go ahead and get away from these strikes from Ronan, and then layer into him as best we can. Ooh, that was a large lunge there.
The damage is already done. Our location has been discovered. There is only enough time left to...
And let's get the AX attack in here to get through the remainder of Ronan there. That's actually quite nice. Team members all up to level 5, which actually feels about on pace with where we're meant to be. There's an awesome cutscene here, but again, it doesn't have any bearing on what we are trying to do. So we're going to go ahead and skip past that. And this cutscene sets us up into the next chapter, which I think we're going to do next week because it's going to be a lot more intensive. So if you're excited to see some of this playing Ultimate Alliance 3 as intended type concept, be sure to leave a like on today's video and comment what chapters you're most excited to see as I come through them. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope that you have a fantastic rest of your day.